Hey there everyone, Lord Frigid here, finally back with another episode of Aether Raid's Battle Dump. I have been playing Aether Raids this entire time. In fact, it's basically the only thing in Heroes that I've been doing outside of events such as Tempest Trials. For instance, I haven't touched Arena in, oh dear, months now that I think about it. That said, you haven't really missed much. I mean, yeah, especially in Light Season, where I basically only deploy the Cedar Raiding Party nowadays. I have deployed one team that wasn't the Cedar Raiding Party for a successful match over the course of the past 4 Light Seasons, just to give you an idea of how dominant that's become. And it's all because of the rise of Note. So clearly, Note's the best thing to have ever happened to Light Season. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that any matches that happened between my last upload and this past Astra season didn't happen, so as to not inundate you with an hours-long video. And let's go ahead and get into these matches. This first map is a prison setup, straightforward, so I'm just going to get right into it. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it. I sent in the Dragon Wagon team because it's really easy to control the flow of enemies. That's one of the 2 scenarios I think the Dragon Wagon really excels. The other one is where there is a lot of space coverage, but it's kind of sparse. It's not super concentrated. You don't have like 10 units honing in on one spot. And in those situations, I can just have my dragons kind of split the map, divide and conquer, as they say. Just take on a certain, whatever small subset of enemies happens to be controlling a particular area. Yeah, so pretty straightforward stuff. So this just takes on Plumeria and Reinhardt. And then I think I ended up breaking the Aether Fountain and having Idun tank for most of the rest of the map. Idun did get some pretty significant upgrades over the course of my video hiatus between the Crafty Fighter B-Slot and the Steady Breath Seal. Those replace her Special Fighter B-Slot and Quick Riposte Seal, just gives her some more flexibility on her Guaranteed Follow-Up and Enemy Special Charge Reduction. And she does lose her own Special Charge Acceleration on the player phase, but overall I thought it was a good trade to make, and so far I haven't been disappointed.
A time to celebrate. This way. A fine evening. Come on, come on! Close your eyes. A fine evening. A time to celebrate. This way. Oh, yes. I'll do it. This way.
I sent the Cedar Raiding Party against this second map, which is basically just 2-range beat sticks plus mythics. I say it's the Cedar Raiding Party, and it is, but really the unit who did the most work here, I would say, is actually Altina.
I am the answer.
Because she could. I noticed that the Duma and Saros both have assists, so when all combats are exhausted, the tiebreak for who gets to go first, since they're both melee with assist, falls to whoever's closer to my team. In that case, this is Duma, so he gets the refresh from Azura, and Saros does not, which is really nice, also completely useless for this enemy team. So that was why my opening functioned. After that, I actually had Altina continue her rampage. I had Naga smite her over below the defense fortress. Now, because Merrick has Altina in his range, he will get a rally from Ophelia, which will prompt Azura to immediately refresh her. So that gets both Merrick and Ophelia, since Ophelia's movement range will be increased after the refresh, and Altina gets to just Vantage KO both of them. Yeah, pretty straightforward stuff after this. I believe I just had to take out a couple people, and then used my 2 Wings of Mercy units to shuffle Altina around the map to grab the Aether structures. Nothing super nothing super complicated for the rest of this, so I will let it run and see you in map number 3.
It will be done. Come on, come on!
There is but one future.
You have my trust. What is your desire?
Consider it done.
Why not?
With utter certainty.
This way.
I am the answer.
You have my trust.
Yes. It will be done.
If only.
I'll do it.
Yes?
This third map is a 7-slot trap. I could have deployed the Duo Lin team, but I like to not deploy the Duo Lin team if I can avoid it. So I just deployed this other team. I don't have a proper name for it. I've taken to calling it Canto Abuse, which is really more of a description than a name. So I don't know. I'm open to suggestions if anybody has any. The idea here is that I'm placing Catria closer to Quan than Sigurd is to the rest of my team. So Sigurd gets the priority on the Lilina refresh. Since Yuri will be in Sigurd's range, Merrick will jump forward to rally Sigurd, just straight down, and then Quan gets to refresh him. And really, the goal here was to get Sigurd and Merrick to expose themselves. So Yuri goes ahead to take out the Sigurd, and I had Regan take out the Merrick, and all of that penalty application prompts Camilla to go on a restoring spree. And because she does that, Quan gives her his refresh, which means that his refresh does not get used on somebody who could potentially actually do something threatening. I mean, Camilla is a threatening unit, but not from the spaces where she's restoring from. That's it for the strategy. I think I'm actually going to take a couple, or however long I have left, to chat a little bit about this team. This team is a new setup that I put together this past light season because I found that I was having trouble with a certain type of map, and that type of map was where the enemies are high power but medium to low range, clustered in one general area, and protected by a far-safe tank. So the far-safe tank stops Lin setups, and the high power with kind of dense enemy clustering made it difficult to use traditional tank teams like my Dragon Wagon team or my Marita team or my Sita team, just because there's too much incoming damage to deal with. So in those cases, I decided I would try and take advantage of the medium to low range aspect and just combat that with incredibly high range and Canto power. So that's the description, Canto Abuse. Obviously, Yuri is a great mobility option, Erica is a great wall breaker, and Catria, I wasn't actually planning on using Catria initially. I was going to use, or I was thinking about using Near Trace Lilith. Of course, I don't have any Near Trace fodder. So that was why I slotted Catria in there in the first place. But once I saw Catria in action, any thoughts of replacing her just went right out the window. She is invaluable for this setup. The warp power is great for mobility, and additionally, the triangle attack I have found is really nice for cleaning up the enemies that approach you after the initial hit and run.
Where to, friend?
Like Erica just melts Fallen Adel guards, and I don't know, it's a whole lot of fun. So I like this team.
I won't disappoint.
Map number 4 is also a 7-slot trap. I deployed the same team and used basically the same strategy, where I just waited for the rally to happen. This time I actually didn't let the refresh go through though. And once the rally happened, Sigurd, in this case, exposed himself, and I was able to pick him off and go from there. So everybody except for Erica just kind of shuffles on into this lower left corner. Erica stays in the lower right. I actually went ahead and broke a couple of those structures just because I had Canto and I could. So after Sigurd exposed himself through Refreshing Valbar, I was able to have Erica take him down, and I did that with a quick foul play usage. Just swap her into into combat range.
Leave it to me.
And then I just moved my units around
Yeah.
through the power of positioning and assists in Canto. So Saros
Close your
actually
eyes.
gets the
Not my
whatchamacallit,
first
the
choice.
refresh from Mirabilis here, which is why my positioning, though it looks like it's really close to enemy range, it's not actually anything threatening. So from here, it was a matter of trying to figure out how to deal with this big old block of
This'll be
enemies.
fun.
And Triangle Attack, I think, did come in handy here. Oh, yes, no, it definitely came in handy
Not my
because
first
Erica
choice.
has it. And it was really nice to be able to
won't
employ
lose.
that against the Valbar. So I set up a triangle attack scenario here. I did notice that Catria was unable to 2 HKO thanks to the
Leave it to me.
whatchamacallit. What's his weapon called? Courtly Candle, I want to say? I think that's what it's called.
Yes.
So I needed to have Erica take him down there. That, or I suppose I probably could have just not had Triangle Attack active. Huh. Didn't really think about that one. But after that, I had Yuri take out the Byleth, and he still has his Canto up. So I just walked him in front of the
My
Mirabilis.
orders?
So he would take the hit from her and allow me to
Not my first
grab the Aether
choice.
structures. For this, I did have to place Catria in a location where Yuri would be able to warp, since he was afflicted by the Tactics Room penalty. That was annoying, but ultimately not really an issue.
Consider it done.
So just clean up from here, so I'll let it run its course and catch you in the next match.
I won't disappoint.
Over here?
You have my trust.
Leave it to me.
Close your eyes.
This'll be fun.
To be by his side.
Yeah.
Where to, friend?
The fifth match is a save armor stall comp. I deployed my Canto abuse team again, which is not really the type of team I had originally intended it to be used against.
Wait for
But
me.
the Black Knight is the near save unit here, so that the opportunity proved too intriguing to pass up. So the idea here is that I'm setting up a triangle attack
do it.
on the Black Knight. Catria looks like she's in the enemy's danger zone, but she is in fact completely safe because, well, I mean, the enemy team is completely blocked in here. And the idea is that on the next turn, I will break the Panic Manor and have Erica demolish the poor Black Knight with armor effectiveness and triangle attack before his Black Luna can even touch her. And basically just proceed from there. I think I did also want to get rid of the Mirabilis, just so I wouldn't have to deal with the refresh power. So I do believe I did that. And then, yeah, it's just a matter of really just getting my units to safety. So Canto and I believe Foul Play also played a role in making that happen. So I think what I did was I had Yuri swap with Catria. Ah, yes, of course, with Catria, and then I had Altina reposition Erica
You
out to
have my
safety.
trust.
Why not?
So now the enemies, of course, they have no refresher, and they don't have their near save unit, so it's pretty easy for this team to just clean them up. I will let that play out and get back to commentating in match number 6.
Where to, friend?
Over here?
Consider it done.
Close your eyes.
Yes. Wait for me. Yeah.
I won't disappoint.
Over here?
As you can probably tell, the Canto team quickly became one of my favorite setups in Astra Season. I deployed it here against this map, which is basically exactly the type of map I was telling you about earlier. This is the type of map that I built this team for, so it's quite fitting that I deployed it here. It's the sort where there are a bunch of enemies that are high power but meh range, concentrated into one general area and protected by a far-save tank. I set up here taking full advantage of the fact that Canto ignores movement penalties, or perhaps more accurately, it does exactly what it says it does. Like, it says that after taking an action, your unit can move X spaces. Well, after taking your action, your unit can move X spaces. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I kicked things off by having Erica take down the Saros, and then obviously run away because I don't want her in range of especially a triangle attack, Katria and Byleth. That would have been real bad. Oh, Ira too. Ooh, that Regnal Astra would have been nasty. So after that, I did a full-on retreat. Well, not a full-on retreat. I guess a full-on retreat would have been a little more dramatic than what I did. I knew Mirabilis was moving first, so I didn't evacuate completely. I wasn't sure whether anybody would jump out in front of Mirabilis to do rallies or whatever, and they didn't end up doing that, so I was able to pick her off really quickly, which was nice. And then I got it in my brain that Byleth was going to be able to warp, even though he's not within 2 spaces of Katria. I guess just the fact that Katria was on the board made me cautious about it. So I did a little bit more shuffling around. I didn't want Byleth warping to say, Ira, and then being able to attack from there. And again, because he didn't even have Katria's weapon effects on him, that wasn't a threat. Oh well. I did need a bit of thinking time here, and eventually I realized that Katria's triangle attack is really going to come in handy, just allowing her to completely obliterate this Brave Hector. And then she was able to take out the Byleth as well. That activates her Gale Force, and I was able to proceed onto the Aether structures. Ira does have Odd Tempest, which was something to keep in mind, but she is not going to get that effect this upcoming turn, which is an even number turn. So no danger from that either. So yeah, it's really just clean up from here. I will let this one play out and see you in match number 7.
Yes. I won't lose. Over here?
Where to, friend? This will be fun.
Why not?
I won't disappoint.
Not my first choice.
Consider it done. With utter certainty.
Where to, friend?
Yeah. Wait for me. I won't lose.
I deployed the Ceta team against this 7th map. I could have deployed the Canto Abuse team. I decided against it because the Ceta team could handle the map, and it scores like 20 points higher due to the merges on Naga. I did, however, make 2 unforced errors, which resulted in a unit death, which rendered the score that I got from clearing it the same as if I had just gotten no deaths on the Canto Abuse team, so that was a little unfortunate there. Unforced errors were, I did not calculate the distances between Mirabilis and my team compared to Dorothea and my team. So Mirabilis won the privilege to refresh Edelgard, and I moved Idun down instead of to the left. That exposed Altina to this attack from Edelgard after she goes on her mad warp spree, warping first to Saros, then to Veronica. So that kind of sucked. As you will see, Idun completely walls Edelgard. But I decided, again, the score difference between losing a unit here versus going deathless on a different team like Canto Abuse is 0. So I figured I'd keep the clear and just live with the death. I left Veronica alive while I grabbed the Aether structures, but other than that, no other notable things for this map. So I will let it run its course and see you in match number 8.
Close your eyes.
There is but one future.
What is your desire? This way. Oh, love.
Yes.
If only. I'll do it. Oh, love. It will be done. Come on, come on! Yes? Why not?
I am the answer.
If only.
There is but one future.
Map number 8 is another one of those setups that I built the Canto Abuse team to deal with, so I deployed them here. Again, high power, lowish range, protected by a far-save tank, and clustered in one general area. I guess in this case, they're also protected by a near-save tank, or most of them are. I took advantage of the fact that La Rochelle is not protected by near-save,
Yes.
and got the enemies moving by having Erica take her out.
To be by his side.
Then it was just a matter of cleaning up the enemies. The enemy team does not have a refresher on it, so their chase down options are limited, which I found to be really nice. And just had to be mindful of the fact that Catria's Wedding Bell Axe does provide that warp effect.
Leave it to me.
Although, I'm actually not looking at the enemy's skill setups right now. It might not have been possible, depending on
With utter certainty.
what the assists were, for that to have been a factor. I'm not entirely certain. Let's see, what else is there to talk about before the enemies start swarming down at me? I guess
Where to,
just,
friend?
again, here, using foul play to get Erica in range. And then, over on the right side of the map, Altina just went up to grab the Aether Amphora, which technically wasn't necessary because it's my last match of the season, or it was my last match of the season. And I just kind of had her sit around up there. I didn't really need her to fight, and there was no danger to her once La Rochelle was gone, so yeah, there's that.
I'll do it. Why not?
Erica precharged her Luna,
Consider it
I guess is
done.
another important thing to note. That came in real handy on this upcoming turn. Now I had a couple options. I could do more hit and run, or I could go full aggressive. I went full on aggressive. I had Yuri take out the
This'll be
Niffle.
fun.
Then he Cantoed straight up. And here's another example of why Catria is a god. Erica demolished Brave Edelgard here, due to the power of Precharged Luna, armor effectiveness, and triangle attack. Without triangle attack, I guess triangle attack's the big one, because without triangle attack, she would have taken a bonfire to the face and died a horrible, painful death.
Why not?
With triangle attack, she demolished the Edelgard, so
I won't disappoint.
value. Fallen Edelgard cannot near save, or far save rather, onto the mountain tile, so Yuri was able to take out the Catria, eliminating the last vestiges of this team's limited mobility. And
my
yeah, it's
trust.
easy cleanup from here. I could have set up another triangle attack on the Fallen Edelgard if I needed to, but it turned out to be unnecessary, so I didn't bother. It is nice though when for cases where Erica's already taken a big hit and couldn't heal all the way back up with her, I think it's Surge Sparrow that gives her the heal effect.
Close your eyes.
But in this case, it wasn't necessary to set up the triangle attack, so I didn't. And that is it. I hope you all enjoyed the return of Aether Raid's Battle Lump. I know I did. I've been meaning to get back into this for some time now. I initially did stop due to lack of motivation, but what made it continue and stretch out so long is they called us back into the office at least 3 days a week. So no, they rescinded their work from home every day policy. And that really screwed with my internal clock, and it honestly hasn't completely recovered. So we'll see how it goes. I do want to resume these, though. If I do, I may switch to daily uploads. I haven't decided yet. The big thing is that with the current format, I can pre-prepare basically everything on the day I do the match, like the commentary and the overlay and whatever not, and I don't. I procrastinate and do everything at the end of the season. which is not a fun time for 8 matches worth of stuff. And the way I see it, I have 2 options. One, I can get my act together. That would be nice. Or I could just do daily uploads, and then I'm still technically procrastinating just for shorter periods of time. I don't know. Again, I haven't decided yet. And if I do end up going to daily uploads, it will probably be delayed by a day, so the video on Tuesday would be the match I did on Monday. Just because I play E3 is kind of whenever, and I'm not always in a good position to be doing commentary and such. I mean, I guess the best example is the last day of the season. I do my match at 6 in the morning because I work from 7 to 3. Yeah. So whatever happens, I do hope you will be there to see it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.